The latest status update from Facebook is in. It no longer wants to pay for news content. And that means there could soon be less news on your profile. But how did we get here?
Our mission remains the same. It's still about bringing people together.
Back in 2021, Facebook signed deals with various Australian media companies to pay for the news content used on its platform. The media companies had argued that big tech was profiting from their hard work.
The argument of the media companies was that effectively the platforms were getting a free ride.
Australia's competition watchdog, the ACCC, found a power imbalance between the social media platforms and the media companies. It recommended the News Media Bargaining Code that would require the platforms to pay for content.
They're providing content for free, not paying for it, and getting all the benefit out of it in terms of getting people's attention, getting people's data, and getting the advertising.
The Morrison government introduced the legislation, but Facebook reacted by shutting down its news pages in Australia. Media players, big and small, were hit, and inadvertently, charities and health and emergency services.
How was your discussion with Mr. Zuckerberg? Is there any sign?
Effectively, it was the great unfriending. It felt like Facebook, in trying to make its point, was seen to behave like a bully. It was using its power to try and get the result it wanted.
Facebook has refriended Australia.
As far as I was concerned at the ACCC, that was 100% success. The objective of the code is commercial deals. They went out and did them. That was fantastic.
So here we are in 2024, and the deals reported to be worth around $70 million a year are about to expire. Facebook, or Meta as it's now known, has chosen to walk away.
The number of people using Facebook News in Australia and the US has dropped by over 80% last year. We know that people don't come to Facebook for news and political content, Meta said.
Facebook has clearly decided it no longer wants to be in the news business. It's just too expensive.
Smaller publishers that signed up with Meta are now set to lose funding from the deals.
If that's pulled from under us, what's going to happen is you'll see journalists out of a job and you'll see newspapers close.
This might look like a thing of the past, but Andrew Schreyer from the body representing 230 regional media outlets says printed newspapers, as well as the Facebook versions, still play a critical part in the bush.
We have had floods in this area, and without the funding we just wouldn't be able to send the teams that we do out on the weekends to take photos and interview locals. And that's why they see us as an essential service, because in times of fire and flood and the like, we're able to invest resources in those news services that make a difference to people that are threatened by these events.
The biggest players, including News Corp Australia, are furious. It's also left 60 regional jobs at the ABC in doubt. But others, like Will Hayward, the CEO of Crikey's parent company, Private Media, saw it coming.
We're not surprised by Meta's decision. We've been planning for it. But as I said, it's a huge loss of revenue.
Private Media signed up to the Meta deal, but were critical of the code.
The fact that the Media Bargaining Code saw the vast majority of the funding flow into the coffers of News Corp, Nine, and a handful of other businesses is, to be honest, shameful. The fact that the legislation was flawed from the start has meant that we've ended up in this entirely predictable scenario, which is that the code has fallen apart, one of the big platforms has backed out, and all of that money's going to go.
The Albanese government has the power to force Meta back to negotiate. But former ACCC Chair Rod Sims says that might prompt Meta to pull out of news altogether, like it did in Canada, which has similar laws.
The risk is that Facebook will take down all news so that no Facebook user can see any news or can even post links to any news. I think that then means the government should be thinking outside the code.
A lot of news providers in Canada now miss out on quite valuable traffic, and the public miss out on reading these stories.
As the government considers its options, Meta could face fines of up to $50 million if it's found to have breached the code.
I would urge the government to act responsibly before they take any next steps. The impact for independent publishing could be disastrous.